What's going on, guys? My name is Rango Lee.
This is MyLien fam.
And welcome to the Blessed Boater Show. Today we're going to be talking about a really, really important topic that everybody need to talk about more, and it's mental health.
Yes.
Even though it's we're a little bit late. It was May, that was Mental Health Month, and we're into June, but hey, better late than
Never.
Right?
Yes, I know. Better late than never.
Yep.
It is a very, very important topic, and I'm glad that we're able to talk about this subject because it's not something that people talk about often.
Especially Asians,
correct. And it's a tough subject. And so I'm glad we're touching base on it because with COVID and everything, I think a lot more people are experiencing it. And not everybody's as lucky as you and I who have a lot of support, right? If we needed something or if we're going through something, at least we know who we can reach out to.
Yeah.
But not everyone is as fortunate. And so I'm glad that we're able to share what we've experienced as well as share knowledge in the subject. So, yeah. As I was researching this and going through all this, and as you guys know, I do have a dental hygiene background. I did it for over 8 years, and so I'm very familiar with, mental health issues, medical things, and so I'm very passionate about it. So, keeping healthy is not also physical health, but mental health as well as spiritual health, and so we need to be able to find the balance to all that to be overall healthy, right?
Right.
Okay, Rango. So I'm going to ask you, what age do you think mental health illnesses begin?
Man, that's just a tough one. Yeah, I just remember me when I was younger. I started getting kind of sad or depressed about stuff. Maybe 17.
17?
When my car broke down, I didn't have no money to pay for it. So that was me. I was 17.
Wow, 17, huh?
Yeah, so.
Hey, can I ask Gabe, what age do you think, Gabe?
I would say early teens when you're going through puberty, kind of confused.
Oh, he's pretty good.
So shout out to Gabe Tran.
Yeah, you think he got that, huh? But he didn't give me a number. He just gave me a general. Yeah, he did.
Thank Gabe.
Smart Gabe.
Our behind the scenes
So
guy.
I want to let you guys know.
Yeah.
It's at age 14.
14.
So it is the puberty age. You are right. Ding, 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 ding.
Good job, Gabe.
But again, with everything going on right now, and then as you know, I'm surrounded by children all the time too, nieces, nephews, children of my own. I think that number probably has lowered quite a bit, and people going through puberty a lot more. And remember, we have social media now too, so I think a lot of that has affected that statistic.
Well, yeah, I mean, this statistic we found from the website National Alliance on Mental Health, NAMI for short. It said the second leading cause from ages 10 to 34 is suicide. Suicide. Second leading cause of death.
That's so
from
crazy.
10 to 34. 10 years old.
I know, that's
People
so
are already
crazy.
Kids are dealing with mental health issues.
That's insane. So our kids are going to be that age soon, and I just hope that we're able to recognize those things. We'll talk about how to recognize it in a little bit.
Right.
Okay, so my second question, okay?
Okay.
Do you think men or women struggle more with mental health illnesses?
Well, I kind of cheated already because I saw the statistic here. They say 75% that commit suicide are men. So I would say men, right?
You think so?
I don't know. That's my guess.
Yeah? Okay, I want to let you know that it's about 50-50.
Really?
Men, remember, mental health issues, when you think of it, it's not just depression, anxiety, and suicide. There's actually a lot of mental health issues. So this is the fact that I got, that both struggle the same, but women struggle more with internalizing mental illnesses, such as depression and anxiety, whereas men they struggle more with externalizing mental illnesses such as substance abuse and conduct disorders. And so like, alcoholism and, other things besides internal. So men and women are pretty much the same.
What was the woman one again?
The internalizing, so it's like depression, anxiety.
Oh, okay.
Those
okay.
internalize inside.
Carrying it inside and not talking about it and stuff like that.
Yeah, so anxiety, depression, those things are like mental.
Yeah.
So that was one, and then this is one that kind of blew me away.
Okay.
And I see this often too, and that should have been correct, but yes. So what mental illness do you think has the highest mortality rate?
Schizophrenia.
Think so?
Yeah.
Anorexia.
Anorexia.
Yeah, anorexia.
Wow.
Yep. Sadly, 1 out of 5 will either die of anorexia or they'll probably take their own life.
Wow.
Yeah.
And mostly girls, right, that deal with anorexia?
Yeah.
Mostly?
So girls do, and especially right now too, with everything on blast, right? Everything looks good, and you're always comparing yourself on social media to somebody else. And I think guys are actually coming up there now too. But when you first hear anorexia, the first thing you think is women.
Right.
Right. Body issues. We're always criticizing each other. You know what I mean? Which we shouldn't. We should uplift each other instead of criticize each other.
It's tough being a woman sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, but I see men are getting more criticized, and they're actually a lot more sensitive now too. Things have changed quite a bit since
Drinking
our
too
era.
much beer, getting that beer belly,
But now instead of beer belly, you see how guys do it? They call it dad bod.
The dad bod.
You see what I mean? The dad bod. And so, but I like that because they actually took that negative into a positive instead of just keep getting negative and just not a good thing.
Right.
But I really like the dad bod thing. They should have said mom bod, like a mom bod, and make it like hip.
Yeah, why don't you start saying, hey, I got my mom bod going on. It's fine.
I'm gonna think of another term. But I do have a mom bod. Yeah. So so those are the 3 things that kind of popped out to me, and I just wanted to ask just for some fun facts, so we can start out this. It's a heavy subject.
Yeah,
And so,
definitely deep.
And I was a little nervous talking about it just because it's not something we talk about often. So.
Yeah, for sure. And, the reason why we're doing this episode is so, anyone that's experiencing mental health, or you have a loved one, a parent, maybe a child experiencing some heavy mental health issues, that they're not alone.
Yeah.
And they're don't feel ashamed about it. Mm-hmm. And we're bringing it out to the light right now that, it's starting to be pretty common these days, and we're trying to equip people with some tips and some stuff that worked for us and other people, so everyone can kind of get to a better place together.
Yeah. Okay, Rango. Let's just start it.
All right, let's start.
Yeah, let's do it. So, Rango, have you experienced mental health issues, or in what age? How you overcame the situation?
Yeah, I would say I started experiencing it about 7 years ago, and so I was 35 at the time. It's kind of uncomfortable for me to talk about it, but I will, because I want to be truthful here. I was going through a divorce at the time, and at the moment, that was the hardest thing I've gone through in life. At that moment, was through a divorce, and it's weird. Your mind will allow you to get through the divorce and equip you and keep your mind together to get you through it. But I think about 6 months after it, I started feeling like these headaches, these low energy spells, the moodiness, the dark cloud. And so my doctor, they gave me some antidepressants.
So when you felt that way, sorry to interrupt you, but when you felt that way, what made you to get help? Because some people just continue feeling that way, and not everyone go and get help, or they're kind of embarrassed to get help.
Yeah, I know I needed it to stop that pain, that feeling. I needed it to stop, so I went and saw a counselor, and they prescribed some stuff. And I don't remember what the stuff was, but I was on it for a week, and it just numbed me the hell out. Like,
what do you mean by numb?
Before, when I was going through my thing, and then I would still go to the park and work out or go on a hike, and I would feel a little bit of endorphin raise, and then afterwards I'll go back to normal and sad again. But then when I was on the pills, for me, I couldn't go up. and it was like this low kind of numbness that I was kind of, and I didn't like the feeling at all. So after a week, I just stopped and got off it and just.
Did you ever go back to the doctor?
I did, and they tried to give me some other stuff, but I was like, nah, I'm good. Like, I want to try to fight this. Because a lot of my friends were telling me that some of these antidepressants, they give you suicidal tendencies and stuff like that. So I was like paranoid about that.
Because you didn't have suicidal tendencies.
I didn't know.
You're just feeling like can't control the emotions.
Right. So I think
I
just think, so that was happening at the time, the divorce, and then running a business was hard. That's when I first had my real estate company. We were like,
while you're divorced, or you just got divorced? I had the company for about 4 years at the time, and it was hard to get it off the ground. So I was very stressed out with just trying to get this company going. And then at the time, we just found out my mom had cancer, and this was 5 years ago. And that's a
just
lot
hearing that news, right? So, of course, anybody would be going through what I was going through, which is basically a mental breakdown. And so that was my first experience with that about 5 years ago.
So you went to get help. Okay, medicine didn't help you.
Nope.
You said, hey, this is not for me. You're trying to get over it on your own.
Yeah.
You just found out your mom got cancer.
Yeah.
And you're building your real estate business.
Yep.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
How did you overcome it? I mean, what did you do? Because right now it sounds like something's about to blow up. You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to handle everything at one time?
Right.
I mean, you're not on the meds. So how did you do it?
I know that I try to deal with it the Eastern way, which is through meds, and it didn't work. And my spirit, Western way, it didn't work. And so my spirit was calling me to just fight it naturally. So I tried everything the last 5 years to try to deal with it. So hypnotherapy, I tried that for the first year, and that helped for like a month and a half, just helped a little bit, and then it came back again.
Hypnotherapy. So they hypnotize you.
They try to hypnotize you to
manage your feelings,
good and better, and
so they try to retrain the brain.
Something, but it didn't work. It didn't work, I felt. And then I did acupuncture.
Oh, acupuncture too?
Acupuncture and
for physical, or how does acupuncture help? Like,
it just help. It's supposed to help with your physical and your mental. Like they
put it in your head,
spots around some points around your body that's supposed to release
like
good
pressure,
energy and release pressure. And I did that
because you had headaches. That's right.
Well, depression, headaches. That's what I called it. It helped for a couple months, and then it came back. Basically, how I've been dealing with it, it's like days where I'm down. I feel like sad for no reason, really. I just do my best to get by. I hit it really well.
You do.
And
not all the time, but you do. I can see it because you hold it all in here.
Yeah.
When I see you, it's like in the eyes and this area. You hold it all in here.
Right.
And I can feel it and sense it.
Yeah.
But I don't ask because I know. Give you some time.
Yeah. I mean, it's a part of the process. Now, the last couple months, years, when it comes, I just allow it to be, and then I know that day is going to be a crappy day, and I want to get through it, and then don't do anything to make it worse. And then, the next day, hopefully I'll feel a little bit better. And so that's kind of been what I've been doing the last, couple months, couple years. So
what I'm hearing right now is like, you still have it.
Yes.
You haven't gone through it. You haven't resolved the issue.
Well, remember too, that the last 15 months, everyone's been dealing with COVID.
Yeah.
I'm no different. We all been dealing with it. And, that, my mom passed 15 months ago. My dad passed 20 months ago. And so just dealing with all that on top of everything else is very heavy. So I've been dealing with it, and it's been getting pretty bad the last 12 months. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel, because about 3 months ago I found a counselor that's been helping me out a lot. So I've been doing it's kind of weird, but it's called neural feedback training. So basically, my brain gets hooked up to these wires, and my brain sends out these signals, right?
Yep.
And so basically what he said is my mind, in the back part of my mind, is working too fast. It's going too fast. I think too much. So that's where anxiety comes from.
I can tell you that without him telling that.
Okay. So the neural feedback training slows that part of your mind down. So I'm a kind of guy where I try first and then I trust. So I've been doing it for 2 months with this guy. And honestly, I'm about 70% better. Wow. So it's only been 2 months, but it's working so far. So he said you're supposed to do it for about 3 or 4 months to really get the full effect. So I'll continue that, and with counseling and talk about my feelings and all that kind of together is helping. So.
Oh, that's good. At least you found something. See, sometimes it's not just the first thing you go to, and then you feel like, oh, this is gonna resolve it. This is the solution for everything.
Right.
Everyone is so different. That different things will work for different people, right? So don't think that, oh, I'm just going to go get meds and that's going to be it.
Right.
No, sometimes that's not going to be it. But you have to want to get better. See, that's the thing. You have to want the desire to get better. Some people don't want to. So they can go to do so many other things and they'll just be back at square one. But you have to inside want it.
There's no get a better quick plan for this, because you've been dealing with whatever it is. Life is hard. And that's another reason why we're doing this episode, because I know there's a lot of people at home experiencing what I experienced and what we're going to talk about, what you experienced. And it saddens me to know that there's a lot of people out there that are dealing with that. And that's why we're doing this. So it's not easy for me to talk about like all the issues I dealt with, because I'm a minority, I'm Asian. But, you could tell that I'm uncomfortable still talking about it.
It's okay.
But I feel like I just want to try to help people, let them know, like,
you're not alone.
You're not alone. You can get through this. Just don't give up. Don't think about anything stupid, like, suicide or anything, it's like.
It's irreversible. It's not just like TV, kids or, adults. You can't reverse it. Right. And if you do it and it's not your time to go, you're going to be pretty much scarred, and you're going to have to live with the effects and the choices that you make. And so you got to be very, very, very careful, because that is not something that is reversible.
It is not even about them that passes, about their loved ones that they leave behind. That's who suffers the most. If you have kids, bro, you're like crazy, kids, wife, husband, parents, it's just. I know. So that's why we're doing this also, so no one can, even ever try to even get close to that thought.
Yeah,
so.
And you're not alone. You guys are not alone. And like you said, you went to a counselor to talk about it. That's the first step. You need to talk about it. Your body needs an outlet. Whatever you're feeling in here gets stuck in here if you don't release it. So whether it's talking about it, whether it's crying, whatever it may be, it has to come outside the body. You can't be just huddled in there.
Talk about it is so important. And I remember when I was going through it, I didn't tell any of my families. I didn't tell my mom. I didn't want to like stress her out more. I didn't really tell my my now wife, my siblings. I didn't tell them. I was just, and even my close friends, most of them don't know. So, and I wish I would have told them a little earlier. And there's people that are going through it and right now, and don't try not to do anything to make it worse. Like drinking a lot makes it worse. Drugs make it worse. Vices of too much food or sex or pornography or like buying stuff. Think about the ways to overcome it healthy wise, whatever, like being in nature, talking about it with a counselor. Maybe it's meds. I do know meds do work for some people. So if you try it and it works for you, then stay on it, right? Because
you got to train your body, right? So, I mean, I'm not saying Western medicine is not good. It is good. But like I said, every individual is built so differently that different remedies will help for that individual. So you have to just cater and pretty much make, what do they call it? Like a treatment plan for them, right?
So let's here.
I wanted to ask about spirituality, because I'm always curious about that. You said spirituality that helped you.
Yeah, spirituality.
Like, how did you, like, when things get tough, like, how do you push through the tough?
Great, yeah, good reminder. For me, God, divinity helped me get through it. I felt, but also at the time, I was mad at God. Because I'll be like, God, I'm a good guy. Why are you putting me through this? You said if I trust you and have faith that I'm going to get better and I have more peace. And, for a couple of years, it was on and off. And this dark cloud was still hanging on me. So sometimes I'll get mad at God. I'm like,
really?
Why are you cursing me, But now I'm at a point where, days where it comes, I say, God, I trust your plan. I don't know the reason why you're having me feel this, but I'm going to understand later on. I just have faith in you and help me carry me through the day. And he definitely has. And I try to meditate every day for about 20 minutes, so that helps.
Yeah, I see that. And that's one thing that I hear a lot from other people too, is the meditation. I'm having my kids meditate too. The other day, just like 3 days ago, I was trying to put my mom's curtains up, and they were just way too much sugar, too high, too much energy. And I was like, you know what? Instead of me getting mad, I had the mad voice, but I'm like, you know what? No more timeout. But you know what you can do to calm yourself down? Meditate. And guess what? They sat there, meditating or whatever it is. I wanted to laugh because it was so cute, but the meditation calmed them down so much. And they were like, I was like, you guys ready? You guys cool? And they're like, yeah, we're cool. And it was totally different.
Yeah.
So whatever it did, they regrouped, they meditated, they calmed down, rethink, it was good for them.
So
oh my
important.
gosh.
And I know there's a lot of listeners that follow the show that are entrepreneurs, and I would like to say that being an entrepreneur and a business owner, it's a lot of hard work. And I felt a lot of my stress and depression, anxiety came from running a company and trying to do too much. At the time, I had 2 kids, I was running the company. Then I'm over here developing these properties, and I'm over here flipping houses.
Oh man.
And it was just too much. And so your brain only can take so much, and the wires in your brain starts frying. So I'm just saying, when you say yes to something, you say no to something that you're doing right now. So just make sure your yeses and your commitments, you have enough brainwidth to deal with it all, or you're gonna fry it like what we're talking about today.
That's why you gotta upgrade your computer, right? Because your computer right now is just this much, and now that's why Google keep telling me, or iCloud keep saying, hey, you need to pay more money so you can upgrade your memory.
Well, the problem with our brain is you can't just go upgrade and get a new brain.
No,
we only got one brain, so you gotta.
You can exercise it though. They, strengthen it, exercise. There's some of that,
Yeah.
But again, I do agree.
So that's really important. So how about you, MyLien? I know. So tell me about your mental health challenges and journey.
Okay, I know that you're asking me about my experiences, but I'm not done with you yet, Rango. I feel like you're super nervous. I don't know. I feel like you're trembling. You're kind of holding back a little bit, and I know it's a touchy subject for you.
Right.
But the thing is a lot of men and even boys, like I want my boys to watch this and be like, hey, look at Rango. He's tough. He's buff. He's smart. He is vulnerable too. So, and it's okay to be vulnerable. And I want them to understand that it's okay to really dig deep and really talk about it, and don't be nervous about it, and just really be real. Just tell everyone how you feel and what it is, because I feel like you're holding back so much, and I don't know if it's too cold in here, but I'm trembling myself, but then I feel like you're trembling or you're nervous. I don't know what the energy I'm feeling from you right now.
Yeah, it is a little cold in here. The AC's on, but no, it's right. I am nervous. It's because as we're talking about this, all the years, it's all coming back. It was some damn hard years.
But see, do you re-experience these feelings when you talk about it? Is that why you don't talk about it as often?
I mean, when I go talk to my counselor, I cry, and it's like the only time I really cry when I talk to my counselor. Because as a man, you don't supposed to be vulnerable, right? Supposed to be strong.
Yeah.
So I guess I still got my walls up, and but this topic is very important to me, so that's why I'm putting myself out there and just trying to help who we can,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What exactly are you feeling right now?
I don't know, just sad, dealing with my mom, really, and finding out she had cancer, and then divorce. And running a company and almost losing the company, and it's a lot of stuff that for one person to deal with mentally. So of course, I dealt with depression and mental health issues, anxiety, because I said it's just.
So when you're sad and you feel this vulnerable, is it? I hear that you talk about everything, right? But what is it really inside that's making you that sad?
Sometimes it just comes, and you don't know when it comes, and it just comes, and you just roll with it, you know.
So you ignore it.
Huh?
Do you ignore it?
I used to ignore it a lot, but no, now I have ways to deal with it as well, that's helping. So
Like meditation and
meditation,
going
being in nature,
that helps
talking
you.
to a counselor. I never stuck with a counselor. I only during the time when it first came on, I had a counselor for a couple months, and I always thought something was. I just didn't vibe with them. But the counselor I've been going with now for 2 months, I vibe with him really good because I think he really cares, and he's older and he's very experienced, and he's helping me, and so that's why I'm kind of it's working out pretty good with this new counselor.
I want to know what you're so afraid of. Like, why are you so afraid of being this vulnerable?
As a man, you're supposed to be strong. I don't want to feel like I'm weak. I don't want people to feel like I'm weak. And so that's why I try to hide it a lot. I don't tell no one when I'm feeling these days of, going through my stuff.
So you're scared of what other people feel about you or see you.
I think, yes, and it's fear. It's fear of someone might hurt you. Someone might know that you're feeling depressed and you're weaker. You're weak. So it's a fear of.
What's so wrong with being weak? Even if they thought you were weak and you're this vulnerable, what's so wrong with it?
I don't know. It's tough.
Tough being a man.
It's tough being a man.
You just told me it's tough being a woman.
It's tough being a person. Like sometimes, I don't really talk about it. I never really got to the point where I was suicidal. But when I was going through my thing, I did think like, man, life is hard. Wouldn't it be so much easier if I didn't have to deal with any of this stuff? But then I think about my like 2 kids and my beautiful wife and my family and my loved ones, and I'm like, I can't even think about thinking like that. Like, and I'm 42. I only got another 40, 50 years on this earth, God willing. And that's really a blink of an eye to get through the next 40, 50 years. And so I can do that. That should be pretty easy. So then I get back on getting, living life again.
What about your mom? Like, how did you get through that? I know death is one of them. It's hard to get over.
Yeah.
Even myself, like if I were to imagine if my parents were to, leave this earth, and I don't know how I would be, I don't know why I would live, to be honest. That was my first, when you asked me, I don't have to work at the restaurant, but why? It's because I want to spend every single day, now at my age, to be with them. Support them where it's needed, since they've sort of supported me all their lives. That is my worst fear, is that they're going to leave me. And I talk about this to my siblings, and we all feel the same. Life is never going to be the same because they are such the rock in our family. With them not being here, everything I just feel like will be crumbling down. Like, I don't see the purpose to live. Thank God I have children. That's why I found the purpose to live. But if my parents are not here, I think I would go through a huge mental breakdown. I even tell my husband too, and I think he understands why. But I just don't know what I would do.
And welcome to me and my siblings' world. The last 2 years, like my dad passed 2 years ago, and then I felt like we was just barely dealing with that, and then 10 months later, my mom passes. Like imagine that. The same freaking 2 years.
That's hard.
It's the hardest thing you'll deal with, I think, in life. I think about how they want us to carry on since they're not here, and it's I'm understanding it's the circle of life, and we're in the circle. One day we're gonna pass, and our kids gonna feel the same way how I feel about my parents, and I think that's where divinity comes in, religion, spirituality comes in, is the thing that's been getting me through it is knowing that they're in God's hands. They're with God, and they're with Jesus, and that's my spiritual belief, and that gives me comfort knowing that they continued on, that they're not just gone, they continued on to the next evolution of their lifetime, and I'll meet them again. And so that's really the one thing that really been helping me out. my family out.
Yeah. That last episode with Betty too, I think it got me a little bit more at peace, because I was the same fear that I would never ever see my parents again, and I can't live without them. That's just how it is. So it's tough.
Sometimes you're stronger than you think you are,
Well, like I said, I'm glad I have my children because they gave me purpose. Because if I didn't have my children, I don't know where I would be, to be honest. It's my parents and my children, and of course my husband. He's everything. I think he's stronger. He has to be stronger in some aspects of our lives because he knows I'm really weak when it comes to the emotional side, and I hide my feelings. I went through a lot when I was young. I went through a lot actually throughout my life. I think I've maybe experienced 2 life folds, like 2 people. But I am the oldest, and so I feel like I have to hide my feelings just like you do.
Mm.
Yeah. And like if I'm not strong, I feel like everything will crumble.
Mm.
Like I feel like I'm the glue that keeps my family together. And I thought like, hey, if I was not here, and it's kind of funny because the last month, I, for some reason, keep thinking like if I wasn't here, I can't be here. There's no choice. I have to be here. How would my family, I can't leave my family behind,
Yeah.
So it's really hard. Like I try to hide my feelings all the time. And you always see me with a bubbly smile, but my world is different,
Yeah, share with the audience, how about your mental health journey?
So, as you know, I'm MyLien. I'm the one that you always probably seeing smiling all the time and never have issues, right? People see my social media and they're like, man, she got a perfect life.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Everyone does. So it's not just you. But even with the perfect life, we all have issues that we deal with, right? We don't blast our bad juju everywhere. I don't want to spread all negativity to this world. We have enough. Right? But if I'm going to learn something from what I'm experiencing, then I want to be able to share and inspire, and that's why we're doing the show.
Right.
I was actually I don't know if I was nervous to record today or was it nervous because the topic I hold so close to my heart. I spend my whole lifetime has been ups and downs and dealing with a lot of mental health issues. But like I said, everyone deals with it differently. So I went through a few things. I think I've always always had anxiety. Okay, mine was anxiety. Depression, I'm not sure. Depression, I don't allow it to get to me, but with anxiety, I can't control. So my first experience with anxiety was when I was in dental hygiene school, and oh my God, that was the hardest thing in my life at that moment. When I went to school, I was faced with a lot of racism during the program. And we can, talk to you a little bit more about that later. We went through a lawsuit, of course. My roommate was also Asian. She was the one who got the lawyer. For me, I was like, man, my family's going through so much already. I don't want another case on the plate. I don't want to deal with the lawyers. I don't want to put my family through this. So I'm just going to chill and just accept it.
So you were suing the school because they were...
The school, the teachers.
Because they were racist against you guys for being Asian?
For being Asian. If you can see, we won, of course. If you see all the things that we collected and all they were interviewed, students were interviewed, everything that we did was the same or not better than other students, but we got docked for points, like left and right. I was to a point where I wasn't going to be able to graduate hygiene school. I worked so damn hard to not graduate, and I feel like I may not be the most book smart person, but I know I work hard and I know I can pass. I know if I put my mind to something, it will happen. I'm not going to allow it not to happen, right? But for some reason, everything I did was not enough. And I was in the Tri-Cities. I had nobody. It's my first time. My family's here, I was by myself. There's nobody there. Asian was almost like, oh my gosh, there's an Asian. I was in a museum. People will point fingers and like, oh my gosh, there's an Asian. I had people, say racist remarks, go back to where you came from and stuff like that. And I always just had to defend myself and not have it get to me. But again, when I think about it, why didn't I speak up? But I was all alone, there's nobody there to support me. So anyways, let's go back to the dental hygiene is anxiety. I didn't know what anxiety was. You know, in my family, in our Asian culture, it's unheard of to have a mental issue or have anxiety or have depression. You know, they always say it's something else. You know, get through it. You don't talk about your feelings. You need to be strong.
That's a good point. And being Asian or minority, or definitely Asian Vietnamese, it's a taboo. You don't supposed to talk about it. You're supposed to just deal with it. You know, doing that, internalizing it makes it worse.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this, to break the ice amongst Asian minorities. But
Yeah.
anybody,
Anybody.
whatever color you are, dealing with it, like, you know, use some of these ways that is working for people to get through it.
I didn't know what anxiety was. You know, I just felt like my heart was pounding. I couldn't breathe. I woke up every morning crying in the shower, you know, for no apparent reason. I didn't want to go to school. I knew no matter what I did, it wasn't enough, right? So the time that I actually felt like I needed help, and I never asked for help, you know, was when I blacked out.
You what?
I blacked out.
You blacked out?
Yeah. So I was in the middle of doing clinicals, and I heard her footsteps. Like, I just heard her just walking towards me. I don't know what it was. I didn't realize I wasn't breathing, and I stopped breathing. I knocked out.
Crazy.
I knocked out. Yeah, it was crazy. That's when was a red flag to me that I have an issue, and it was something that I couldn't control by myself, right? So I was like, hey, you know what? I can't do this on my own. I can't Google. I can't get through this. There's something inside my body chemically that's not allowing me to push through what I need to push through. I'm unstable mentally, whatever it is. I can feel it, you know, it's inside. So I got help. I went to a counselor first, of course, talking about feelings, you know, Everybody's like, oh, talk about feelings, right? Yeah, I can talk about my feelings, but what's inside right now is not changing. So when you said that meds didn't help you, meds helped me. I had a situational anxiety. It was diagnosed early on, you know, I mean, knocked out. So, you know, I was on anxiety pill. It was a very light dose, of course, because I'm like, I don't want to take medicine if I don't have to. Everyone has that mentality, oh, you know, it's not good for you. I was at a very desperate moment where either I'm going to heal or I'm not going to heal. I'm going to move forward or not move forward, right? I'm going to push it through or not. But to everyone out there who's resisting to take meds, I am a victim of those that cannot control how I'm feeling, okay? I took an anxiety pill. It's just a very low dose. It's called Alexa. And I talked to them about all the side effects, this and that. And it was one of those very lighter load of a medication that if you were to get off of it, you won't get withdrawal effects. And so I was like, yeah, you know, I'm open to that because right now I can't continue this. I don't know where it's going to go. And I don't want to end up going somewhere I shouldn't be. And then so I went on Celexa for a good 2 weeks. I couldn't tell a difference, but my sister did. Before I test, when I study, I would always like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm always thinking about like, I'm going to fail. Oh my gosh, no matter what I do, I'm not absorbing this. I don't have enough time. You know, those are all the things that I was just running all the time. Like, oh my gosh, I couldn't stop, you know? My sister was the one, like, she's a nurse. And so she tells me I see the signs too, you know, but I was like, oh, you know, just kind of slough your family off like, oh, you see the signs. Okay, whatever. I'll get through it. Right. And you don't want to see, I don't want them to think I'm not strong. So what happened was I didn't see the effects. And then all of a sudden there was a slight change. My sister's like, you failed a test? I was like, no, I didn't fail. I mean, I got a C, but I'll do better next time. That's why I said. She's like, what? And I was like, yeah, I'll do better next time. What's the big deal? That's when I was like, and so my sister's Mihan, and she was like, girl, are you crazy? Like, who are you? You know?
Were you like happier than you usually are? It
wasn't happier, but what I've noticed was that the medication helped me clear up my mind. So I wasn't focusing on what is going on inside my body, my heart rate, my breathing. Like, I feel like I have to control my breathing like very steadily all the time. Or not. It's just like I can't breathe, like tightness in the chest. You have a feeling like a panic attack, like tightness in the chest. My heart, I couldn't control my heart rate. It just kept going and going and
Faster?
going. It's fast. It's like this all the time. And I'm
so
like,
you had like hella adrenaline?
yeah, it's not even adrenaline. It's like, yeah, it's always like this. And I'm like, trying to calm it down, but I can't. It's almost like, have you ever had a panic attack?
Yeah.
Yeah, very similar to that. And I couldn't calm it down. So I was so focused on the mechanism and all the hormones and all the stuff that's going inside my body, my brain was not clear enough to focus on anything else. So when that was mellowed out, and I can tell that my heart rate was normal, my breathing was normal, I was able to concentrate and clear my brain.
Oh, so you're saying before that your heart was racing, everything was going, you're thinking too fast, and then you got on the meds and it slowed everything down to a good level.
Yeah, so it wasn't slowing down my mind though. It was just slowing down all the mechanism that was going inside, the anxiety.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, so I was like, dude, this is good. Like, I'm chill and I can think straight. And so I even saw the way that I was processing information was a lot more clear because I wasn't focusing about how I felt inside, because I didn't feel anything like anxiety or adrenaline, right? I was still happy, but I didn't feel the adrenaline. So I wasn't focused on that.
Oh, so how long were you on the meds
Throughout
for?
the whole entire school. Oh. I graduated and I became a hygienist, a really good one too, you guys.
So it worked really good for you.
It worked really, really well for me. Very, very, very well for me. And so when people are resistant to it, I'm like, hey, take it from someone who went through this. Like, it's okay. You're not weak. You can get through this.
Well, they say 1 in 4 people deal with some kind of mental health issues at one time. So, yeah. I mean, you and I, we both dealt with it. So, I mean, so it's a lot of people out there. So if you haven't dealt with it yet, you're gonna probably deal with it sometime in your life.
Yeah.
So this
and mine was situational. So once I was done with school, I got off the meds, and the thing is I felt like that med saved my life because I felt like it trained me for mindset. Yeah, it trained me how to get through situations, how to use my breathing skills, how to recognize the signs and symptoms of anxiety because I experienced it already, and how I can get better so that I can do what I need to do. And that's how I pulled through in my whole entire life. When I feel anxiety, I'm like, dude, hello anxiety, you're here again. I know what to do. I can attack you. I know what to do. And I've been off meds for the longest time. I started back on that med during COVID.
Oh, 12 months ago?
Yeah, because I was just carrying too much at one time. And then with the family too, it was a lot. And I had always had fear that I'm going to lose one of my family members. That's my worst fear. So I think that mentally made me have anxiety. I'm off of it now, but in the beginning.
So did it work when you were taking it for COVID because of all the COVID stuff going on?
I think it helped a little bit when I was on it, but I wasn't consistent like I used to, because I just had too much that I had to deal with, and I was like,
I'm surprised. I wasn't sure you were gonna talk about that because a year ago you told me that you were on it, and I was so surprised that I was like, because you're so, in my eyes, you're so happy-go-lucky, and you've always been like that. Don't ever lose that. And you said, I've been dealing with a lot of stuff, and I got back on anxiety medicine. I'm like, whoa, like it's good that you talk about it because you're human, you know, and you're vulnerable. And like same here too. Like, so I remember 2 years ago when my dad was going through what he was going through before he was passed, I got back onto antidepressants, and I was on the same Zoloft for a year.
Oh, wow.
So we're talking about 2 years ago, and I say it helped me about 15 to 20% happier and more peaceful, 15 to 20%. But a year ago I got off it also, and but that's kind of been both our journeys that we had recent bouts with depression and anxiety and stuff.
And it's so common, you guys. It's so common. Another thing I want to touch base on, because I didn't go through one type of mental illness. I went through postpartum.
Oh, that's a big one.
This is a huge.
No one ever talks about that one.
No. So for those who don't know what postpartum is, who haven't had children yet, it's called postpartum depression. And so it's depression after a person gives birth. You can't really explain why people go through it. It's a chemical, it's a hormone, and you're imbalanced inside the body. Your mind starts wandering. You start thinking all these things, and it's basically depression, and it's unhealthy and it can be very, very fatal and dangerous if left untreated. I didn't realize I had, and thank God I had my sister who's a nurse recognized the signs, because I was almost in denial that I had it, because hey, MyLien, happy-go-lucky, perfect life, right? I can handle anything and a lot of things at one time, right? That's what, when you think of MyLien, that's what you think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
always
you
have
know?
to tell you to slow down. Like ever
Right?
since I met you 4 years ago, I would tell you, dude, you're doing too much. You know,
Yeah,
you slow down a little bit, and you're like, I can handle it on. But you know, you're
Sometimes
human.
you don't. Some days you can,
Right.
some days you don't. But then you gotta recognize what days you can and what
But
days
you know,
you don't.
it's we're learning.
Yeah.
We're learning about ourselves as life goes on. We learn what we could take and what we can't take.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're getting older now, you know, I know not to say yes to a bunch of things because
Yeah.
you know something's gonna give, and I'm gonna go. You know, my
Yeah.
mind's gonna go crazy again, so I can't have that. So now I
Yeah.
pick and choose
Balance.
where I spend my time.
That's
but
good.
you know, it's something you have to learn.
Yeah.
If I told somebody that never gone through depression, they wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
So you have to go through the mud, the shit yourself
Yeah.
to say, oh, I understand how much it
Yeah.
hurts. Now I'm gonna make my adjustments so my life I won't experience that again, right?
Right.
But it's something some
Right.
people just have to go through, and you went through it, and I
Yeah.
went through it. You know.
So women, I mean, who just gave birth, you know, who's going through that, postpartum is real. Please recognize it, because I was to the point where I was not able to get out of it. I thought, I mean, this is how serious it is that I got postpartum. I guess I can say it's a mild case, but to me, it's pretty serious. I woke up every morning crying in the shower for no apparent reason. For a whole month, I thought my baby hated me. I didn't even want to touch my own baby or hold my baby, because every single time my baby cried, I felt like it hated me.
Wow.
So in my mind, I was like, why are you crying? You don't love me. You don't love me. And this voice keeps saying, you don't love me. I gave birth to you. It was the hardest thing ever in the world. And you come out here treating me so badly. I mean, it was weird. It was really, really weird. And I love to go outdoors and it's sunny. I did not want to get out of my room. I was married to my pump. I didn't want to leave the comfort zone of my bed. I didn't want to go outside. I wouldn't do anything. All I wanted to do was cry. My second child, I was juggling so much, doing work, you know, taking care of my two-year-old. My baby keep crying over. It was driving me so crazy. And you hear this in the movies, you guys. And this is happening to a real person, okay? I heard it in the movies, but I didn't ever think that I would ever think of it. And I feel like I'm a good person, okay? I had that moment in my head where I wanted to take a pillow over my baby's face and stop the crying.
Wow.
That is horrible. And when I talk about it, I feel like an awful person, but I experienced it. I mean, you guys, it's real. And so when I see women who go through this, like, I'm like, you guys, you need to support her, whatever it may be. There's so many things inside of her, mentally, physically, everything's changing. And you need those husbands or spouse or whatever, you need to step in and support where it's needed.
Yeah.
Because that shit's real. It's like so real. Like to this day, I feel like when I look at my son, I feel guilty for thinking that, because now it's a memory that can never erase from my mind. And I was like, how would I ever want to like hurt my son? I would never want to hurt my son. But why did I think that? You know?
Right.
Why? Like it's insane.
Yeah.
But I recognized it, got some help. You know, when you recognize something, that is the first step to everything. Recognize it, don't deny it, find help.
Go.
So, I mean, you know, this is talking about our experiences. I'm sure we experience a lot of things, but I mean, there's so many people around us that experience it too. So, I mean, have you, Rango, know people around you that's experienced something like this?
Yeah, I got two situations where someone else around me experienced it. So the first one, I was younger. I was 17. I was at my friend's house. She's a female, and you know we're having fun, hanging out. And I know she was going through a lot of stuff. She was younger. She was really pretty. She was like 2 years younger than me. She was just really pretty, but she was just dealing with. It's kind of the gift and curse when a girl is like pretty, and then but she don't have the skills to be friends with other girls because of competition or whatever. So she was dealing with a lot of that stuff.
Insecurities.
So I know she was dealing with that. And then I see her like messing around in her mom and dad's medicine cabinet. I'm like, what are you doing? And she go, oh, nothing, just looking at stuff. And I felt like a really weird vibe. Like, why is she looking at like medicine? You know?
Yeah.
So I was like, you're not going to do anything stupid, are you? She goes, no, what are you talking about? Because I know she was dealing with a lot of stuff. That's why I was kind of hanging out with her. And then, so I'm watching TV. And she screams to me in the bathroom. She goes, Rango, come here. Like, Rango, help.
Oh my gosh.
So I run into the bathroom. Like, what's going on? She shows me this pill bottle. And she goes, I don't want to die. And she took all the pills in that pill bottle.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, what the F, you know? So I took it, and I was so scared and pissed. I threw it at the wall, and I said, what the fuck are you thinking, you know? And she's like, I don't want to die. And
my God.
and I, call 911, and they come, and
okay?
and we went to the hospital emergency room, and they pumped her stomach, and she
man.
lived. And that was like, I was like, wow, like that was my first experience with mental health or
that's so
suicide.
crazy. Yeah,
And
I can relate.
she survived, and she's fine now, and I'm still friends with her. And
Oh,
that was a
good. You're always
crazy
friends with so many
experience.
people.
I am.
Yeah.
So that was the first one that I experienced.
Did
and
you know
then
that I've suicide before?
you what?
Yeah, I've attempted suicide before.
Wow.
Not something a lot of
You
people
want
know
to share
about.
anything about that if you're comfortable?
So it was freshman year.
In high school?
Yeah. I don't know how to explain how I felt and why I know why I attempted it. I think I was just dealing with a lot again. And, you know, I think someone said something that triggered and said, you can die. No one's going to care. Your existence doesn't matter. That night, I thought to myself ways of killing myself, but I was afraid of pain. So I was like, dude, like, how can I kill myself so that I don't feel the pain? Because I don't want to hurt. But then also, to be honest, a lot of people who suicide, just coming from someone who actually attempted, is that there is a resistance to wanting to die. There is in there, like, maybe I'll just do this and maybe I won't die, and then it'll make a statement.
It's a cry out for help.
It's a
my
cry
friend,
for help.
She's
It's
saying,
a cry for help.
Help me. You know,
Yeah.
but she didn't want to
Like,
die, you know?
Like, because of being the victim, like, I mean, I can't say I was 100% wanting to die. But then because I wanted to prove a point, or I wanted a cry for help, I wanted people to really know that I'm not doing okay. I need you. I thought about dying, and I did it. I took pills because they said that if you took enough pills, you'll just probably not wake up.
Wow.
Yeah. But the thing is, when I took those pills, there was a moment of regret. It's like, dude, am I really going to die? You know? But now I'm thinking in remorse, like thinking that, hey, maybe I don't. But then it was already too late. Right? And thank God I didn't die, because I'm here today.
So then did you go to the hospital, or?
So what happened was I took the pills. I didn't. I still went to school. Okay.
Sorry.
I know, it's okay. I didn't die.
But then you were like,
I took 7 Tylenols. And so, it was 7 Tylenols. I think the limit was 8.
sorry, I shouldn't be laughing
It's okay.
about it. Because I'm thinking you took all the pills, then you like went to the emergency room and started like,
I went to school.
You fainted, but then you're like, then I went to school.
No, yeah. I went to school. God said it wasn't time. I think it wasn't time for me.
And
so
then it went out
I
your
went to
system at
school, but then no, what happened was that I was walking and I collapsed.
Oh,
I just collapsed.
Okay.
I was dizzy. I collapsed. And then they took me to a counselor and they said what happened. And now it became like it's an issue at home. I'm like, no, it's not my parents. Don't get my parents into this. Don't whatever. It's not their fault. It's not, it's not them. I love them so much. I would never ever do anything to hurt them or whatever it may be. I was just like, no, it's not them. Leave them alone. But I was crying because I needed the love, like I didn't feel like anybody loved me in this world. So it didn't matter that I existed. And I think that was the reason why, but I really truly didn't want to die.
As teenagers, like you and then my friend and even me, we don't have enough life experience to deal with like really heavy, big stuff.
Yeah.
And then we, turn to stuff like that, like ending our lives or cutting our wrists. And it's really sad, it's because
and oh my
our
gosh,
hormones are all going crazy.
Thank you. It wasn't my time because I have 2 beautiful sons.
Yeah,
and then
for
like
real.
I'm able to sit here today with you guys sharing all the stories. So imagine if I took my life that day, which was only like a choice that you make, a bad choice that you made because you couldn't figure it out and give yourself some time to figure it out. You would not be able to enjoy life like you can today. What you choose to do in your life is in your own hands.
I
Positive.
I love that. And there was just this morning I heard this quote. It said, I'm just having a bad day, but it doesn't mean I have a bad life.
Exactly.
So people are having bad days. You're going to get through it. Like tomorrow is going to be better. And if it ain't, then the next day is going to be better.
Right.
But it's not a bad life and it gets better.
Yeah.
Life is a roller coaster.
It
Tell you the
is.
truth. No matter what happens, you know, you get your ups, and then you get your downs, and you get your ups, and you got your average days. It's
Yeah.
like, and that's part of life. Like, we all signed up for this because we knew. But, you know, I don't regret,
No.
and I'm sure you don't regret the days and the moments where things were down, because that's where you grow and learn
Yeah.
so much through those experiences, right?
And now you're able to
Now you
inspire.
share it.
You're sharing
And
it,
you
inspiring
know?
people. You're not alone. You know, you're not alone. Everyone went through it.
Right. So I guess I'll share one more story.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up, same thing. I had two really close friends. I'm not going to say their names, but two really close friends to me that experienced bipolar and schizophrenia.
Oh.
So, and they were like my best friends.
Wow.
And it was,
That's
I mean,
big.
it was crazy going through being friends with them during that time. And, you know, we were all smoking weed and doing, you know, some other drugs that we
Yeah.
shouldn't as teenagers. And that intensified everything.
Yeah.
And that was very dangerous because they could hurt themselves, but we're their friends, and they almost hurt us by doing stupid stuff and saying stupid stuff to other people. And now we're involved.
Yeah.
And so one of my friends, he only went through it for about 2 years, and then he got help, and he's good again after 2 years. But one of my other friends, I'm sure he's still dealing with it now. And, you know, I always pray for him because we went through so much together, and he was actually one of my like best friends.
Oh, wow.
And, but every 2 or 3 years, you know, he would be good. He would get a really good job. He would, you know, find a nice living, house, car, and then he'll just go through a mental episode where he'll just be bipolar and schizophrenic and tear everything down.
What do you mean? Like,
It was like a 3
it's
or
like
4
both
year cycle.
bipolarity, kind of like you switch from one person to another. I'm like, what is he exactly
So,
experiencing?
man, paranoia. People are trying
Oh.
to get him, hearing voices.
Oh my gosh.
But, you know, I had so much love for him where,
Yeah.
you know, moments where I saw that he would tear everything down, I would still be by his side because I was young, you know, and I didn't know better, and I had his back. And nowadays, I can't be around him anymore because I have
man.
2 small kids
Yeah.
and a wife, and I have, you know,
It could be dangerous.
It could be
right?
dangerous.
But did
you
he
know?
get help? Do you know?
I don't think he got that much help, or it didn't work. So one or the other. But I wish him the best of luck, and I always still pray for him. But if he called me to do something, I can't pick up just because it's too risky.
Yeah.
And so,
I hope.
but I'm sad because that's one of my very good friends. I
Oh
kind of,
my gosh.
so
Yeah, I pray for him too because he has to recognize he has an issue first, right?
yeah.
And if someone cannot recognize that they have an issue or they have a problem and want to get better, there's nothing anyone can do in this world. There's
Yeah.
nothing. So you have to want it yourself and want to get better. And so let's go talk about like recognizing the signs and with people at home. You know, what I mean, the audience. I mean, it could not be you that's going through this. It could be your friend next to you. It could be someone in your circle. But when you're able to recognize these things, it could be a life changer. It could be a lifesaver. And if you're able to recognize it, and then if they can get help, there's ways to get help as well. So
Yeah. So let's talk about some signs of mental illness that we're experiencing or someone else around us experiencing, so we could see that there might be a problem there.
right.
Let's see. We got a whole list of stuff here.
Oh yeah, we got a whole list of stuff. But again, just the ones that it's easy. Feeling down. So when you think about like mental health issues, feeling down. Not wanting to do anything out of the ordinary.
I say let's say prolonged feeling down.
Prolonged. Yes.
Because us as humans, we're gonna, if someone passes away or we lose our job, we're gonna go through a depression for a couple of months. That's just
Grieving.
part of growing up or of the
Grieving.
experience, grieving.
Mm-hmm.
And that's healthy, right? Because it is what it is.
Yeah.
But if someone is continuing this on for 3 or 6 months or a year, when not too many major stuff is going on, then
can't
it
get out
might
of
be
it.
mental illness, right?
But mood swings, right? Ups and downs, the really highs and the lows, like extreme.
Extreme, that's one. Confused thinking or reduced ability to concentrate.
Mm-hmm.
Excessive fears or worries. Extreme feelings of guilt. Extreme mood changes.
Alcoholism.
Alcoholism. Withdrawal from friends and activities. Significant tiredness. detachment from reality, delusions, paranoia, hallucinations.
Yeah. Signs of suicide, you know, if you see people with like little cuts here and there, especially around their wrist, those are areas that people tend to go cut themselves. I was once a cutter, so I know how to hide it.
You was a cutter?
Yeah.
You used to cut your wrists?
I used to cut in areas not so close to my wrist because, again, like, I didn't know how to suppress the pain.
Wow.
Yeah, and sometimes when you did that, you felt like it hurt more than what was hurting inside, but it was only a temporary solution. It wasn't healthy. And then when you start to kind of love yourself more and be like, hey, why am I doing this? Why am I scarring my body? You know, this is my body. You should preserve it and take care of it, right? No one's going to love it anymore. Like, you have to love yourself, right? Once you get to that point where self-love, then I think you can get over it.
Yeah.
But again, I can, you know, those are some of the signs, you know.
Yeah. Different things work for different people. And I remember when I was going through mine, people were like, let's go drink. And I'd be like, no, I don't want to drink. Because for me, drinking makes it worse for me. So then, but they didn't, you know, they're just trying to help. Or they would say, why don't you try going to church with me? And I'm just like, bro, you know, I'm just in the suck. I don't want to go to church. Right? I'm mad at God right now for putting me here, right? And so maybe one way to help, I guess we could talk about ways to help people that are going through it now. Is just to ask them, hey, what can I do that helps you out, that helps you get through the problem, right?
How can I support you?
How can I support you?
Because it might not be church and it might not be alcohol.
Right, it's like your love language, right? My love language is different than your love language.
Yeah.
My healing from depression, anxiety is different from the way you would heal from anxiety, depression. So I think one way I wish someone asked me is like, what can we do, Rango, that would help you feel better? Like what usually works when you're feeling like this? And I would say, let's go for a long drive with me. Don't talk about like solutions of like how I'm feeling. Don't give me like a bunch of tips and stuff. Just sit and chill with me. We'll drink some Red Bull. We'll listen to music. We'll drive for like a couple hours, go to a river, and then we'll come home. Like I think that would help, right? But no one ever asked me that because they didn't know, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's one way is asking that person what usually works for you to get out of this hole that we can do together. So
a lot of it is, you know, like you said, you know, that support group. The support group is major, right?
Yeah, I guess one is not hiding it from your closest people. Just
not hiding it. You got to talk about it. You got to talk about it because nobody's a fortune teller. Without you telling them how you feel, how can they, right? They're not fortune tellers. So talk about your feelings. Talk about what's going on.
There's a statistic here. It says the average delay between symptoms onset and treatment from the National Alliance on Mental Health website is 11 years.
Oh.
Between when someone starts having mental health issues to getting help is 11 years.
Wow.
Average. So maybe the first 6 months, you know, if you're feeling it, go get help.
Yeah,
you know?
That's why they say, you know, recognize the signs, you know, recognize that something is not normal and get it early, because anything that you prolong for a long time, it's going to take a lot longer to get better, you know?
Right.
So with any kind of treatment, right? Like any kind of condition, you want to treat it early on, take care of yourself from the beginning, you know? Just recognize those signs. How
about a good one is being in nature?
Yeah.
That usually helps people get their mood up a little bit, chilling in the sun, right? So that helps. And how about a good one is movement, just not exercise. Because sometimes when you're depressed, you're like, I'm not going to no gym, but just movement, you know, say I'm going to walk around my house one time around my yard and come back inside. Just that 5-minute walk helps.
It does.
You know, just that movement, right?
Yeah.
An object in motion stays in motion. You get good energy. An object that stays still, laying in bed all day,
it's not gonna help.
It festers. Now you start just thinking about like how crappy you feel. Then you feel more crappy because you're just laying there all day or sitting there watching TV or whatever, right? Yeah. So that's another solution if someone's going through this. I think we covered some pretty good ones.
Yeah. Again, like the professionals, they have so many techniques.
Yeah.
So many techniques. Medication, you know.
Healthy eating. I think that's a important one. Because sometimes when people, they feel crappy, they eat crappy food, like fried chicken and drink sodas, and then they feel more crappy. But maybe throw in some fruit and vegetables, and you might get your energy up again, right?
And remember, mental illness is not just anxiety and depression. It's like bipolarity. There's schizophrenia. There's like a whole bunch of other types of mental illnesses. And so depending on the mental illness that you're experiencing, I think that's when you start kind of creating that individual plan for yourself. Yeah.
You said you had a situation where somebody around you was dealing with mental health issues. You want to share that?
There's a guy that I met in college. We just exchanged eye contact, say hi. That's it. We're not like friends, more like acquaintance. We just know of each other. Seems like a pretty cool guy. He plays basketball, this and that, right? He hit me up maybe about a year ago, maybe. During COVID time. And he said, hey, my family's an investor. We have so many properties, 25 properties. I need to list them and sell them all. I want to buy a house for my family, right? I was like, okay. I listened to his spiel. And then and he's like, let's go looking. I was like, well, it's during COVID, we can talk, on FaceTime. I don't want to meet anymore. But he kept asking me about meeting him, right? And I was like, at this moment, I prefer not to. I live in a multi-generation house, and I just, that's what I prefer. But there's red flags. So I was able to recognize red flags because certain things that he's saying on social media, it just didn't really make sense. It seems like, okay, is he unstable? And so what happened was he reached out to me. I researched a whole bunch of things, and he's like, I have a wife, and a family. I was like, oh, let me introduce myself to your wife, because since I'm working with you, I want to make sure the wife and the husband know of me. I don't want any problems or issues in the future, right? So he said, yeah, hit me up. My wife is super busy. She's probably not going to be able to, see homes with us, but she's super busy. She's super popular. So let's keep on the DL. And she said that, hey, she's from King 5. She's the anchor, a woman from King 5.
Was she really?
She is.
Wow, cool.
So I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool. Okay. But I still want to, how do I get in contact with her? Send me her phone number and her email. So he gave me her phone number and email. I emailed her first out of courtesy. And so that night I sent it out, and I kept researching things, and I just I tell my husband, it's man, something in my stomach doesn't feel right. So that morning she called me, the anchor from King 5. She emailed me first, but I just woke up. I didn't read my emails yet. So she called me. She's like, just in case you didn't receive it yet, I just want to call you first because I didn't want you to be in a dangerous situation. Woo! I was like, excuse me? She's like, yeah, he's not my husband. People send her things all the time. So she said a few years ago, he started emailing her, sending her things. And then all of a sudden, one time he sent a death threat. And she's like, no, that's when she put a restraining order. So she called me. She's like, don't meet up with him. I don't know what it is. I have a restraining order on him. He's been sending me all this stuff and all stuff. It's like he's in a total different universe.
So he's delusional.
He's delusional. So and my first thought was he's schizophrenic, because I feel like he's in a different world, and he talks about all these other things. What world are you in? But then again, you don't want to trigger these people either, because the thing is, they don't realize that they have an issue,
right?
And if they don't get help, then it could be even deeper, and who knows what they'll do, right?
So true.
So for me, it's I slowly kind of weaned out of it, because I'm like, this might be a dangerous situation. This is not my thing. So I didn't want to piss him off. I just know that, hey, this is not for me. And the point that I stopped talking to him and block everything, I don't know if he thought it was funny, but he was like, hey, how many children do you want to have with me? Oh man, that just oh my gosh. And the thing is, I took pictures of the whole entire conversation, just in case in the future, if I ever had to go back to it and say, hey, these are the documents, and all these are all the things that he said, this is what happened. And so I transcribed everything.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's super scary. So you guys need to watch out there too, because mental health is an issue, but then if some people don't recognize it, and it can be very dangerous.
Yeah, totally. And I was gonna continue with my buddy that I grew up with. He was dealing with bipolarism and schizophrenia, and when you're in that darkness, they lash out at the people closest to them that are really trying to help them. So I remember a couple of times in my life, my friend lashed out at me, blaming me for stuff. And we're talking about now he wants to go get guns and shoot me and my family. It's
that's intense.
It's intense. So you just anyone at home, if you're dealing with someone else that has mental health issues and stuff, just be very careful.
And take it professionally. It's not something that you can control. Like, it's not something you can help treat.
So, but then you can't play their game either.
No.
So I understood and I knew I was innocent. So I didn't play the game back and say, well, I'm gonna go get a gun and shoot you. So I ignored it, and then I called his dad, and his dad was like, hey, thanks for not escalating it, and just pray for him, but stay away, and that's what I've been doing. But
don't escalate the situation, whatever it may be. Recognize it, don't escalate it. Keep yourself safe.
As a guy being in the streets and stuff and growing up, like, we always had a saying, it's like, we'll fight somebody, right? So we'll fight a big guy, whatever, and but we won't fight a crazy guy, because a crazy guy will go all the way, right? Because you don't know, so he could have a knife on him, a gun on him, but so it's just be very careful with that, because we want to try to keep everybody safe out and protect and keep them safe, because they don't know what they're doing. So then, we're not escalating where they might get hurt some way. So
I think this is a tough subject, but thank you so much, and I hope everyone, all the audience, find value in this episode. We let go of a lot of things today, and we unleashed and released a lot of our deepest and darkest times, and so I hope you guys appreciate it, and I hope you guys gain and value something out of it, and really take care of yourselves, because we care.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like, in a way, I feel lighter now from doing the show, because
I do too. I don't feel shaky anymore. I just, like, my heart is light.
Yeah, and I think that's a kind of reason why we're doing this podcast in the first place, because I feel like it's therapeutic for us and me releasing my feelings of just everything that happened my whole life, and especially when my mom continued on and stuff. It's therapeutic. It's like our journal that we're giving to ourselves. So Buddha once said, suffering happens when you want something to happen that doesn't happen. So if we don't want to suffer, we want more peace and happiness, then try not to be attached to outcomes. Simple as that. I remember a lot of time in my life is when I wanted something to happen so bad, and then it didn't happen fast enough. That's when I got sad and let down. And but lately I keep on reminding myself of that quote that just go with the flow, be in the moment, and if something happens, then great. If it doesn't, great. So remember that quote from Buddha, and stay in peace.
All right, thank you so much, you guys. And if you guys enjoy this, don't forget to share and subscribe, and share it with all your friends and family who you feel that would like it or value it. We're on the Blessed Boater podcast, as well as the Blessed Boater YouTube. Thank you so much, you guys. Bye.